People, welcome back to Politics Watch. This is Sir P. Now today I'm going to talk about four legends and their spooky deaths. These men were all giants in their own right. They came from an era where music had a way of moving people, especially in a positive light. Their music is timeless. Any one of them on them on this list, if them song play right now, it have the same effect like it did when you first heard it 10-20 years ago. Tell me, a lie me, I tell. I'm not talking about a lot of the garbage you hear now where hot today and then 3 months after you can't stomach it. Right? These men made timeless music. However, a lot of them, they went on in some fashion where some people just can't accept the official story. And I'll tell you why you will always see that. You see, when men or people in general live amazing lives, as in they achieve a lot and they're great men and they do this and they move that and they reinvent this and they innovate this. When people like that lose them life, it is very difficult for society to accept that's it. And this doesn't even apply in a positive light. Any superstar, when somebody does live a life that is just extraordinary and does seem like, they have the world in their palms and them drop out, it's difficult for the human brain to process that. So sometimes people have to come up with a greater story so that the death has more meaning because people just can't accept it. No, just like that, no man, there must be more to it. So I'm going to tell you about these 4 men. And before I go any further, I'm not proclaiming to have any super inside information on what goes on, or should I say what went down regarding these men's death. Right, but what I'm going to do is tell you 2 sides of how all of these men lose their lives. I'm going to tell you the kind of official accepted story, and I'm going to tell you the bigger conspiracy, so-called conspiracy story, so that you understand where I'm coming from, why I say these men had spooky deaths. Now, I'm going to start it off with a musician who, well, let me just put this out there. Here is a very personal piece of information. This person I'm going to speak about next is my favorite musician of all times. Yes, people, you're hearing it. Somebody asks you, Sir Pete, what's your favorite musician, what's your favorite artist of all time? This person right here is the answer. And I'm not talking about in Jamaica, and I'm not talking about my favorite Jamaican artist. I mean my favorite artist ever. That man is none other than Garnet Silk, the person you see on the screen right now. Now, Garnet Silk, I don't know, of course, I have a wide range of listeners when it comes down to age. But people remember, Garnet Silk was being hailed as the next Bob Marley. Garnet Silk, he had a short run, but he had a very powerful run. Garnet Silk music is one of the first, Garnet Silk is one of the first musicians whose music had an actual impact on my life, right? He passed away on the 9th of December 1994. Very sad day in Jamaican history. Now, Garnet Silk, right, he came from which parish I get? Manchester, yeah man. So Garnet Silk a Manchester man. I've actually been to the place where Garnet Silk come from. That should show you how much of a fan of Garnet Silk I am. I actually went to the community, right, back in the day, and actually spoke to people who knew Garnet Silk. That's how much of a fan I am of Garnet Silk, right? But anyway, the story goes, in 1994, right, Garnet Silk was at home. He went to go look for his mother, right? His mother's name was Dulcie Gray, right? People call her Miss Tiga, right? And he was there with a couple of his brothers. Omar Silk was there as well. I think at the time Omar was a teenager, and he was also there with a dope poet, a man by the name of Moses, if I recall correctly, right? And a bunch of people were in the house, and they were playing around with a weapon. People, this is the story. Garnet Silk, the property, mother property, the man ended up broke in at the property and a thief things, right? So Garnet Silk come back now, right? And I guess because him tired of the whole heap of broken business and, man them a thief things and a thief things, them did it with 2 weapons, right? One of them was a shotty, and one of them was a pistol. But the man them never understand how to use them, right? Because obviously, people, Garnet Silk wasn't a gunman, right? He never done no gun thing and a badness and like that, right? He was motivated by the need for protect the mother place, but of course he didn't get any proper training. He was listening to man and man, so the whole of the man and man them did it with the weapon them. The weapon went off and hit a gas cylinder, right, and the house catch a fire. Now the man them, everybody run out of the house, right? Garnet, Omar, the Moses, I think Paul Casanova, who's his brother as well, was also there. Everybody run come out. When them run come out, them realize, say, hold on, where mama there, right? Now, Garnet Silk, which, to be honest, I'm not even surprised, right? When I heard this part of the story, I'm not even surprised. Garnet Silk, when he realized that his mother never make it out, he then ran back into the house to save his mother, right? And him and his mother end up lose them life, right? People, that is the officials. When I went to Manchester, speak to people in the community, everybody confirmed. So yes, Garnet did make it out of the house, right? And he realized that, mama still in the house, and he ran back into the house. He obviously loved his mother dearly. He sang Hello Mama Africa. He had a couple mama songs as well. Everybody know. If everybody don't know him, people, please, don't be silly. Every Jamaican should know Garnet Silk and know Garnet Silk music, especially if you're over a certain age. There's no excuse if you're Jamaican over a certain age if you don't know Garnet Silk music, right? So just like that, one of the greatest musicians Jamaica has ever produced passed away. They ended up recover the weapon, right, the shotty, right? And obviously the players get thrown in the morning, but you might be wondering, okay, that's spooky. Tell you what the spooky part about it, Therapy. Well, some people never accepted this the story of the weapon going off by accident. When Garnet Silk fans heard that, I played my play around with weapon and then I know what I do, and it go off go leak gas cylinder, some people could not accept that. And you would understand why, right? Again, it's very, very random, right? Imagine how much odds, imagine how much things ever fall in line for that happen. One, they must have first make the mistake with the weapon, and two, the weapon have to point it exactly where the cylinder there. Then have three that go lick the cylinder, then the cylinder have to go off, and people, of course, you can understand why a lot of people were spectacle. So because of Garnet Silk's power, because he moved the nation so much, because he had so much influence over people, and he was one of the few artists who Jamaican people say twist the culture. There are very few artists who twisted the culture in a positive light, right? I'm telling you already, I've said it before, back in the day, right? Enough people talk about the Sizzla where enough people know now might not be the same Sizzla where enough people they originally start for it, right? But back in the day, when Sizzla Kalonji dropped Black Woman and Child, and then followed it up right after with Praise Ija, Sizzla Kalonji twisted Jamaican culture in a positive light, right? Back then, of course, later on him go do all kind of songs and Ray, but he did. Garnet Silk had that same impact. He was very powerful. Some people just could not accept. Said no, Rowan go off and lick cylinder. It must be a bigger conspiracy. I get rid of him because Garnet let go shake up the system, man. That is the conspiracy surrounding Garnet Silk. So it was actually basically some kind of hit, and the whole mistake was just a cover-up story. As I said, people, everybody from the community accept the story, them saw it go. Right, his brothers were also there, other people were there, and them accept the official version. So that's all I can work with. But people, that was the end of Garnet Silk, at least in the flesh. But as we know, his music still lives on, right? And as I said, this is my favorite artist of all time. Let's move on to another giant and their spooky demise. So the next person is none other than Dennis Emmanuel Brown, right? Some people may know him as the Crown Prince of Reggae. It was said that it was Bob Marley himself who gave him that title, right? Now, people, again, reggae fans, Jamaicans, Do I really need to tell them about Dennis Brown music? Come on, people. My favorite Dennis Brown song, and one of my favorite songs of all times, is the song named Revolution, right? Timeless classic, right? Now, Dennis Brown dropped out in July 1999, so it wasn't really that long ago, to be honest, right? And people, the official version of Dennis Brown's death is that Dennis Brown suffered from respiratory issues, right? He was diagnosed with pneumonia, right? And the thing them said, the official cause of death was that his lungs collapsed, right? But people, there are actually a lot of mystery surrounding Dennis Brown death, because you see, depending upon who you ask, you will hear one version that makes it sound like, well, Dennis Brown was almost taken out, and there's another version that made Dennis Brown sound like he lived a rock star life and it ended up catch up on him. See, let me give you both sides. One side was that Dennis Brown was actually hooked on the white powder, right? And people say, well, he got to the point where he even started miss shows and he became unreliable, and he's actually had to comment on this publicly. He gave a couple interviews. I can remember seeing one of the Observer where he said he dismissed it because he was saying, listen, if I was hooked on white powder, how may I do this and how may I do that, right? And to really take things to the extreme, it was also said that Dennis Brown was had contracted the big A, right? People know what I mean by the big A, right? And that was the source of his health issues, right? And you know, of course, he was diagnosed with pneumonia and collapsed lung, and people were saying, because remember, people, the big A itself doesn't actually kill you, it's the complications that it lead to, right? Because obviously it destroys your immune system, so things like pneumonia, and you get respiratory issues and you can't breathe, and cardiac arrest and all kind of things that happen to your body, right? So, and then people said that, well, Dennis Brown had not one but two girlfriends who had passed away prior to him with the big A, right? And they were saying, well, there you go, he must have it. So then people said, well, if Dennis Brown get big A, I must then give him it, right? And then people said, well, listen, Dennis Brown music was very revolutionary. He was very anti-system, and you know, of course, he came from that era of legendary hardcore rastas who were talking about the system and this and that. So the conspiracy was, well, I kill off Dennis Brown, right? Them get him up on drugs and then them give him the big A and kill him off, and that was the conspiracy. Again, people who are close to Dennis Brown, them say they don't know about that, but I guess you would argue that's what they would say. Of course, your family and your friends are always protect your image and reputation, especially somebody like Dennis Brown, right, who's a certified legend. You don't really want to be remembered that way, right? But the white powder rumors and the big A rumors had surrounded Dennis Brown most of his life, but his fans, his hardcore fans, to be honest, the people who me talk to, they don't really deny that part. Their argument is, well, if something goes so, at them set him up, right? If you get him out, right? As I said, people will never accept that men as great as Dennis Brown can go out, getting up on white powder and catch big A and drop out and lungs collapse. So people, that is I want to keep Dennis Brown one short, because to be honest, it's the one where there is the least amount of information out there, because he died from health reasons. It wasn't a gun thing or a shooting thing. So of course there's not a lot of information. You know, health, when it comes down to health, it's normally more hush hush anyway. It's normally close family and friends who keep certain things. So people, second legendary reggae artist, legendary Rastaman, who passed away under spooky circumstances, Dennis Emmanuel Brown. Let's move on to the next person who a lot of Jamaicans have been asking me about lately. When I say a lot, I mean a lot. People have been messaging me, Sir P, like I'm starting to wonder if some kind of movie made about him, why all of a sudden people start asking about this legend. But let's move into it now, people. That's the man on your screen right now. I'm talking about Winston McIntosh. Some of you may be wondering, who? People, come on man, that's Peter Tosh, the great man himself, right? Now, of course, again, I'll say this, and I keep saying it, I shouldn't have to introduce Peter Tosh and who he was, or the things they made him do, right? But instead let me focus on the spooky details of how he passed away. Right? Now people, Peter Tosh. A lot of people have been messaging me and asking me, Sir P, talk about what going on with Peter Tosh now. How would he go down with them people? Before I go any further, if you really want to hear what actually happened in terms of the grimy details surrounding Peter Tosh's death, you can go over to a channel on YouTube named Duke Bassey, right? DUKEBAYSEE, if I'm not mistaken. That channel, them put up enough Muta Baruka interview and them thing there. And they actually, they put up an interview with Marlene, right? That was Peter Tosh's woman at the time. She was actually in the house when Peter Tosh lost his life, and she gave the full details about his death. So I'm not going to focus on going through all the grimy details, because you can go over there to go check it out. But what is spooky is the fact that the official version is that there was this old time 87, right, who come back for Peter Tosh. Right? There were rumors going around that him got jailed for Peter Tosh, and Peter Tosh was supposed to give him some money, and then Peter Tosh never gave him no money, saying come back to shoot Peter Tosh. That was what those rumors have been spreading around in the street. Peter Tosh's girlfriend, or well, she said they got married in Africa, so his wife, you can refer to her as his wife. His wife said that's not true. Them never know. The man named Lepo. Them said they never know Lepo until him start come around and I beg them. Right, but anyway, it is said that Lepo and a bag of man seen coming at the house, running upon them, and by them there were a lot of people in the house. Peter Tosh was there, as I said, Marlene was there, and then man them running upon them, drop them down, start demand money, start telling them to give them this and give them that, right? And while they were there, other people actually turned up to the house, right? So Free Eye, I don't know how many people remember Free Eye from JBC, right? His wife, Joy. There was also a man by the name of Santa Davis, right? And there was Michael Robinson as well. So man end up, they droop down and go on, right? And man end up walking upon it, right? I end up get caught in it purely by bad luck, right? Because when time the man them initially reached the house, Frey and the man never actually did it yet. So people, the man them start demand money. Peter Tosh came down the money, and Marlene was saying that listen, they were actually going through some money issues because Peter actually had health issues, and you know, he never have as much money as people think. But when you listen to the story, what it sounds like to me is a classic case of Hungry Belly 87 sit down and watch man things, right? And things that them supposed to get something but them entitled to, right? Because it is said that the same man Lepo, right? Peter Tosh used to literally feed him. Peter Tosh and Marlene used to literally feed him, and even Muta Baruka in interviews to him, he also knew Lepo, right? And Lepo used to beg him too, right? So this is a man who go around smarty, beg them. Him says the man, him knows the man named Peter Tosh, right? So him naturally assumes the man is some kind of multi-billionaire. People of Jamaica, this is how you lose your life. Man sit down and watch you, right? And them see you move certain ways, and them just start count your pocket. They don't know where in your pocket, you know. They don't know where in your bank account, right? But them just see you move certain way and say, yeah man, he must have sitting, right? Running upon the man, right? The Peter Tosh's wife, Marlene, right? She said they used to literally feed Lepo, right? But what I found very strange is that Marlene mentioned that one of the man them said to her, said to Peter Tosh, say, we come for you, you go dead today. Marlene said it was a hit. So this moves into the spooky part of it, because a lot of Jamaicans never accepted the robbery version of the story. Instead, they look upon it as a hit, meaning that Peter Tosh was supposed to be taken out one way or the other, right, regardless of if the robbery go down or not. Now when she said it was a hit, I was listening to the interview with with Marlene and Muta, and when she said it was a hit, I was like me have to hold on my head. I was like, Muta, why you never ask her to prolong that part? Like she said it was a hit, and the interview just kept going. Like I wish Muta had stopped her right there. So Muta should have wheel and pull up right there, so like and focus. Alright, what do you mean it was a hit? Who do you think would put a hit on Peter Tosh? Now of course Jamaicans were saying, listen, Peter Tosh, rebel, against the system, Bun Babylon, etc. So people were saying it's the system send man to take out Peter Tosh, because I guess they were saying, you know, he was a threat and he was always burning out this and burning out that. However, to be honest, from what I've always heard in the streets, it's always been a case of Hungry Belly Lepo set up the man to rob him, right? Of course, Lepo was sentenced. A lot of people don't know this, but at the time, I don't know if this record has been broken, but when Lepo was found guilty, it was the fastest deliberation in Jamaican history. Meaning, say when they made the evidence and the jury for decide, I know the jury normally go take some time. Lepo's case was at the time. I don't know if the record has been broken now, but Lepo's case was the fastest deliberation, or the fastest decision the jury ever make in Jamaican history. They took 11 minutes. 11 minutes to come to the conclusion that he was guilty. Of course, there were witnesses there. Multiple people survived it, right? And Lepo was actually sentenced for hang. Yes, people, Lepo was sentenced to hang, but you know, it got commuted in '95 because, of course, as you know, Jamaica does have a death penalty, but it got to a point where they were no longer actually carrying out death sentences. And Lepo claimed same innocent, blah blah blah, even though everybody see him, people who did it in the house survive, see him and identify him. And enough for the other man them would do it, may say the streets deal with them, right? But people, you need to listen to that Duke Bass interview with Marlene. She actually mentioned that even, as I said, one of the man them who did Santa Davis, she said after everybody get shoot up, cause she pick up her own now, everybody get shoot up. She said Santa Davis drive off and left them, and when they reach the hospital, doctor man see Peter Tosh and thinks Peter Tosh at 87, right? Thinks I'm a little, you know, criminal rasta, and I push the round back down in Peter Tosh head. Then when him go inside, him go realize the rat that Peter Tosh this, and when him start bawling him, people very, very spooky. You need to listen to some of the details, especially the whole part about the doctor pushing the round down in Peter Tosh head. Listen, I don't know how something like that can go down in Jamaica. I'm gonna have a huge inquiry and not come out of it. But anyway, go check out the Duke Bass interview. People, that was the legendary Peter Tosh. Let's move in to the fourth and final legend and their spooky death, and you already know who's coming up next. None other than Robert Nesta Marley. Now, I deliberately placed Peter Tosh next to Bob Marley on this list. That is because I realized over the years Jamaicans have a tendency to try and sow the seeds of division between Bob Marley and Peter Tosh. Yes, we know them they end up split up and Bob Marley they go and go to film solo thing. Peter Tosh go and go to film solo thing. This is what people need to realize. People make it sound like say Peter Tosh was some sad, depressed, hungry belly youth who sit down on the corner and ball saying man Bob Marley stop power. That was never the case. Peter Tosh was his own man and he had his own career. Peter Tosh went on to do great things. Yes, he never reached the commercial success of Bob Marley, but his legacy is secure. I don't think there's any reason if people try to make it sound like you can only rate one of them. This is the attitude I hear a lot of people try using. A lot of people try pushing Jamaica. Not attitude, that's the narrative, right? That one of them was the real deal and one was a fraud. I completely disagree. And I'll tell you why I disagree. See, yes, Peter Tosh was a rebel. But Peter Tosh was what I would consider to be a conventional Jamaican rebel. What does that mean? A conventional Jamaican rebel is somebody who, yes, them challenge the system and them challenge the status quo, but they do it in a way that is easily understood by the masses. Meaning, they may tell you about your backside and they may tell you about this and run you and cuss you and chant and burn a fire upon you. That was Peter Tosh's style, right? If you listen to his music, it was very hardcore. That is why a lot of people say Peter Tosh was a rebel and Bob Marley wasn't. However, I completely disagree. When I listen to Bob Marley's catalog, Bob Marley absolutely was a rebel, right? Real Rastaman rebel. He just did it different to Peter Tosh. His style was not as barefaced and bold as Peter Tosh, but his catalog speaks for itself. And to confirm that Bob Marley was a rebel, the fact that this brother here not only has one spooky hit on him, but two. People of Jamaica, remember, you know, Bob Marley almost lost his life at Hope Road, the place where the museum they know, right? Bob Marley almost lose his life there, so. Guard the man them go up the film. right? And that was definitely a hit. And Jamaicans know the story, right? People will tell you, right? The conspiracy that's around that will tell you that some people make it sound like it was some kind of robbery or personal dispute, but the conspiracy surrounding that is that that was a high-level CIA hit because Bob Marley was seen as threatening I guess you could say the status quo. And of course, you would have probably heard, depending upon which street corner you stand up, or whoever that street corner is aligned to, you would have heard the stories. The fact that the man didn't come from West Kingston, that the former Prime Minister, Edward Seaga, must have something to do with it. So that is the argument that some people will put forward. Of course, that is impossible to prove because even the man them actually go up on that mission, them never say nothing go so, and of course they wouldn't because, well, I'm sure them already know where that go, right? There's no way on earth they were simply going to come call them man their name, right? But other people were convinced that, well, all the man them to come from West Kingston and pull off a move like that without the help of the big boss West Kingston, right? But people, I'm just telling you what the streets were saying at the time, right? And of course, they never gonna big trial and nobody sit down on a stand and call Edward Seaga name. And in fact, the only trial I can think of was actually a street trial. Man did actually have street trial, right, and trying for the man them actually take part in this, right? Because again, the other side, West Kingston man them would counter back and say, well, for sure you say they never actually approve it. Man, they actually go up on street trial, as in badness. Man sit down in a street trial, street jungle court, right? And man, they actually get sorted out and disciplined because they carried out these acts without certain permission, right? So again, people, it all depends on who you ask, right? And after the man go for Bob Marley, right, spray him up in much rounds, people pick up all rounds. Afterwards, Bob Marley picked himself up, threw on him clothes, and head down to the concert same way. Listen, this brother was the real deal. I don't know why people try discredit Bob Marley's legacy, right? Like say he was just some like a soft pushover. Right? When the man literally pick up a round, right, and then go down at the concert and bust him shirt open and show the people them the wound them and carry on. And of course Bob Marley had that historic, infamous picture with on the stage with Michael Manley and Edward Seaga, right? People need to stop it. Right? You can't love the two man them. You can't love the two artists them. Right? You can't say, yo, listen, I love Bob Marley music, I love Peter Tosh. You know, there's no need to act like say one was a clone and the other one was the real deal. That's not necessary, right? And of course, Bob Marley, how he actually lost his life was, as you know, the story goes, he might play ball and pick up an injury and the toe get infected and became cancerous, and people tell him say him have to cut off the toe, and him say him not cut it off because him a Rasta man. And of course further on it get bad and of course it started to spread around his body, and by then it was too late, right? Because it was a type of malignant melanoma, right, under the nail of his toe, right? And of course people, it got to a point where even the hair upon him head, Bob Marley couldn't manage no further, right? It got too heavy for him. Of course, a lot of these things are out there on documentaries, you can watch them and hear people who were closest to him. But the spooky thing surrounding the Bob Marley is that there is a theory out there that he was actually taken out, as in they said, again, CIA, man said CIA send down him a play ball and CIA juke him in him foot with something, and that's how he picked up the people and just putting information out there. This is available on the net, right? But just know that the official, some people challenge the official Bukav Toe story, but again, the people them who were around him, who knew him at the time, they've always stuck to the official story, which is in injure him toe, right? And then they started to spread through his body, right? And then it got too late for them to save him. But some people never accepted that. Some people said the CIA had them give him the injury on him toe, and them sending a special type of boots with this night, and the second story, again, I don't know, anything possible, especially when I talk about Uncle Sam, right? But the first story, that one, I'm more likely to run with that one. When people say, you know, Bob Marley was, one thing I know for a certain, Bob Marley was definitely seen as a threat, right? He was. So that alone destroys the idea that Bob Marley was some kind of clone, right? It was some kind of, just because people say, just because him brown and them could have used him like one puppet, then what them try to kill him have so much time for, right? One thing I know about puppets, they normally live long. People of Jamaica, one thing I know about puppets normally live long and prosper, right? Then they normally get taken out in spooky circumstances, right? But anyway, people, that's the 4 legendary Rastaman and the spooky death, or the spooky way them lose them life. I'm sure people are going to tell me in the comment section like a small details about this part and that part, but that's the general gist of things, people. Tell me what your favorite artist them, or better yet, give me some more artists and the spooky the spooky stories surrounding how them lose them life. Them not been a Rastaman or nothing, right? Because I know a lot of people lose them life, especially in the entertainment industry, lose them life in very mysterious circumstances, right? Now, people, big up on yourself, stay safe. PHN Squad, you don't know. Bless up.